Welcome everyone to the Western Association for College Admissions Counseling. We've got an exciting fair tonight. This is the virtual college fair, and before we get started, I'd like to just start with a few housekeeping items. Note that if you have questions, you can use the Q&A button to type your questions to the presenters at any time. Also note that your camera and microphone are off. The panelists can't see or hear you. Also note that we have additional sessions available on the StriveScan website, so if you have interest in those, please go ahead and sign up at your leisure. Also note that a recording is being taken and will be available to you at strivescan.com/WACAC about a week after the presentation. With that, we're ready to begin with our first presenter from John Cabot University.
All right, thank you very much, Dave. So I'll jump right into it and start my timer. My name is Ramsey. I'm an admissions counselor for the United States for John Cabot University, which is an American university in Rome. So it's an American accredited university. You can obviously get that American degree in Rome, but you don't have to live in the States. So that's kind of the best part. We are a small institution, so just over 1,000 students. Usually in non-COVID times, we're around 1,400, but right now we're just over 1,000, but we have students from over 70 countries. So you're constantly meeting people from around the world. I actually graduated from John Cabot. So I can tell you from my experience, I was a transfer student. I spent 3 years in Rome. So as you can see, most of our students do come from the US, so there is that familiarity, but everybody else is just from around the world. And if you guys are trying to take notes throughout this presentation, don't worry, I have a QR code at the end that will just give you all the information right on your phone. So don't worry about writing notes super quickly. But I will touch on the campuses and the tuition, of course, and all of that. But so a few things to note right off the bat about John Cabot. So this on-site learning and learning by doing, I really want to, highlight, because experiential learning is the best way to learn. And I can tell you from my experience, you can read as much as you want in a textbook about something, but when you have the chance to actually go out into the city and go to the museum or go to the talk or go to the piazza or whatever it is, and actually see it or touch it or learn it, whatever it is, that is a different way of learning, and it actually sticks with you not only for an exam, but you're actually remembering that because you learned it through an experience. Another thing is that our professors really reflect our student body in that they're from so many different backgrounds, from some of the, they have PhDs from some of the best universities in the world. So a lot of them are in Rome specifically to be teaching at John Cabot, so they're very dedicated to making that experience special. And because it's such a small school, you have that personal relationship with your professors. Average class size is around 15 students. So a very multicultural environment. You'll hear me say that a lot throughout this presentation. We have students from around the world, and I think that's a really important part of education, is having that diversity inside of the classroom. Of course, COVID is what is on everybody's mind, but Italy is doing a lot better than the US, of course, and we've done our part to kind of adapt, and we're doing everything in the safest way possible, but we have been in person in fall and spring right now. So we've done a hybrid of in-person and online classes. It's worked pretty well. Students have said that they're pretty happy with it because sometimes they get to stay home and sometimes they get to leave. But we're doing it, like I said, in the safest way possible. Got to wear a mask on campus, and we're hoping by fall 2021 we'll be a lot closer to normal. Yeah, so we of course are in university, so we have 14 majors and 19 minors. I studied communications and I minored in humanistic studies. We do have a lot of support services, so our math tutoring lab and our writing center. I use the writing center a lot because in a liberal arts institution, you do a lot of writing, a lot of essays and things like that. So when you have an English professor in the writing center helping you out with that, it's really valuable. Definitely helped me out through some stuck places. So here is our list of majors. If you guys have questions about specific majors, I'd love to help out. All of these are offered as minors as well as philosophy and mathematics and a few others. So yeah. Something that's big at John Cabot is our career services. So it's very likely that you do get an internship while you're still at John Cabot. We have partnerships with over 650 companies in and outside of Rome and outside of Italy as well. So we hold 3 career fairs every year where we invite some of these companies over to the campus, and you can put yourself in that type of environment. You know, not only is it a professional environment, but an internationally professional environment. So, you know, you can go and talk to these companies, and it's not just for business students or whatever it is, it's for all of the fields, because Rome has so many different international companies and organizations. And as you can see, over 80% of the students who get an interview actually get the position. So very likely that, you know, you get some professional experience while you're in Rome. Because we're not a giant school, we, you know, do a lot of student-led clubs and organizations. We have everything from theater society to newspaper club to, you know, photography and fashion. I think there's something for everybody there. We do a lot of trips and activities because Rome is such a good resource to have. So, you know, we do trips around Rome, do trips to further places and weekend trips. It's nice because John Cabot is basically setting up a mini vacation for you that you get to go on and, you know, explore Italy, because that's what you're doing when you're there. You're traveling and exploring, you know, the surrounding areas. We do have athletics, so we have soccer and basketball and volleyball. We even here have a cheerleading squad. I'm just going to hurry up because I know that my time is running out. Our campus here, all of our campus is right on the river, so it's an urban campus, few buildings near each other. In Guarini, we have our library and our auditorium. Of course, nice views. I mean, I don't have to tell you that Rome is one of the most beautiful places, I think, on earth. But our Tiber campus, another short walk down the river. And we also have an art studio. I think Rome is a very artistic and inspirational city. So we have housing. They are more apartment style, but it's nice because you'll have more, you know, a kitchen to cook in and things like that. And there's a full gym as well. Online application, we are on the Common App. Just need your transcripts, letters of recommendation, personal essay, and an interview, most likely with me, because I'm the U.S. admissions counselor. But tuition is what I know you guys are wondering. Just under 27,000, and we also have our need-based scholarships and merit-based scholarships. Over 85% of our students do receive a scholarship from us, so very likely that you get that. But please do scan that QR code. My time is up. But thank you. Again, my name is Ramsey from John Cabot University, but please let me know if you guys have questions at the end.
Ramsey, thank you so much. We're on to our next presenter from Macquarie University.
Oops, sorry, try again. Okay, I think we've got that. Hi everyone, my name is Leanne Allen and I represent Macquarie University in Sydney, Australia. I am based out in Los Angeles and I am the admissions counsellor for students across the West Coast and all of the US actually. Sydney is an incredible, beautiful city and it's not that far from the West Coast of the US. It's about 11 or 12 hours from Los Angeles or 12, 13 hours from San Francisco. You generally leave in the evening and get into Sydney about 7:30 in the morning. So, you know, students get used to it. The university itself is located about 25 minutes from the downtown area of Sydney. So the best of both worlds, that big cosmopolitan city experience with the incredible beaches, as you can see here, and then you can retreat back to campus, which is a really beautiful parkland university. We have 40,000 students, and of that, there are 12,000 international students. So we're really incredible student populations, very vibrant. I personally studied a Master of International Relations at the university, and to be in class with people from literally all over the world makes it so much more impactful. Studying in Australia, you will have a similar experience to studying in the US. Australian students do want the same cultural experiences as well. So we do have all the clubs and associations as you would find from a US campus. We have over 180 different clubs and associations. If there's something we don't have, students are encouraged to start it up and apply for funding to do it well. The first picture there is our Mac Warrior. The university is named after the 5th Governor of New South Wales, Lachlan Macquarie, and hence why he's in a Scottish quilt. I always like to point out that we do have an outdoor swimming pool and indoor pool because our weather allows it. If it's below 60 degrees in winter, we'll complain it's too cold. If it's above sort of 90 degrees in summer, we'll complain it's too hot. So we definitely like a very mild climate in Sydney. We have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week support services for students in our Muse Centre, which is that third photo there at the top. And they do claim to have the longest, most continuous desk in the Southern Hemisphere. Weird flex, I know. And we also have a full gym as well. You can certainly play sports. We don't have the NCAA really outside of the US, but students always say that the Australian University Games is one of the highlight of their bachelor degree. So if you're into sports, you can definitely find something that you want at the university. We're a comprehensive university in terms of our course offerings. Some of our most popular courses for US students are our business, international business and management, as well as our business administration. We are really strong in media and communications, as well as journalism, and the new very popular program is criminology and security studies. We also specialize in software and telecommunications engineering, and fun fact for you, we actually invented Wi-Fi, so you're welcome. And we have a fantastic environmental and earth science program as well. So if you're thinking about climate change or sustainability, Macquarie is a phenomenal place to study that as well. And finally, our flagship program, our Bachelor of Clinical Science and Doctor of Medicine degree, is a 6-year program, and you can become a doctor straight out of high school after doing those 6 years. You're actually able to come back to the US and do a clinical placement at Washington, St. Louis or Dartmouth College to then come back and do your residency here if that is your plan. Studying at Macquarie, you can certainly live on campus if you want to. It's not compulsory, it's not guaranteed, but as long as you apply early, you shouldn't have a problem getting accommodation. You often have your own bedroom. Australians do think it's funny that Americans share bedrooms in college, so that's a fun little cultural difference that you can enjoy studying in Australia. Sometimes you may share a bathroom, other times you may have that for yourself, which is nice. We do have meal plans, but it is associated with the accommodation. So you want to make sure that you choose the right accommodation depending on what lifestyle you want and how much money you want to put towards it as well. A lot of people say that it must be so expensive to study overseas, but to be honest, my eyes water when I see the price of education in the US. Our average tuition is about $24,000 to $26,000 because it does depend what you study. Some programs are more expensive or more affordable than other programs. But the cost of attendance on average is $40,000 per year. I didn't mention it before, but actually degrees in Australia, similar to the UK and Europe, are actually 3 years in duration, as we don't have general education requirements. You can do a double degree, for example, a Bachelor of Science and a Bachelor of Arts, and that would take you 4 years to complete. But on average, a 3-year degree is about $120,000. We do have scholarships for students, and we also allow students to use US financial aid. We're one of 200 schools outside of the US where you can take your financial aid. And you can work while studying. A minimum wage in Australia is about $20 an hour, which is pretty helpful. So to apply to the university, you apply direct to our website. It's free to apply, and it is very much an academic-based process. We do not require essays or recommendation letters. So you will be able to submit that application, and within about 2 weeks, you'll get a response from us saying whether or not you have a place. But in theory, we should have a 100% acceptance rate. So because of all our all of our entry requirements are very clear and online. So once you receive your offer, you can certainly apply for accommodation, financial aid, and scholarships, and hopefully come to Australia. Being in the Southern Hemisphere, our dates are a little different. We do start in the February and the July intake, and generally it's about 50-50 as to when students do apply, but the November intake is our new intake, in case that is helpful for anyone. And with that, that is my time. So thanks so much for joining.
Thank you. We're on to our next presenter from Richmond, the American International University in London.
Hi, everyone. I'm Richmond, the International University in London. Let me get this screen going here. All right, excellent. So yeah, Richmond in London, UK. We are the UK's pioneer liberal arts university since 1972. And my name is Victoria. I'm the assistant manager of operations, as well as a Richmond alum myself. So if you have any questions about the student experience, feel free to put those in the chat too. All right. So fun fact about Richmond, Richmond is the only university in the UK and the world that awards both a US and a UK degree. So you graduate with 2 degrees, a little 2 for 1 there. And here's some other reasons, some other perks why Richmond. We are a small university, so we have the small class sizes. I had classes as small as 4 to 6 people, as large as 15 to 20. So your professor really knows who you are, and that's great when you're looking for references and just feedback on your work. You can check out a couple of the other perks that we have here. Things that I'd like to highlight are merit-based scholarships. All of our applicants are considered for merit-based scholarships. There's a separate application you have to fill out. It's all a part of the process. As well, our integrated internships are very popular. Students can do them in the UK. You can go back to the States. You can go elsewhere in the world. So there's a lot of flexibility there. And yeah, we'll kind of touch on each of these points as we make our way through here. So yeah, speaking of the scholarships, so you see that they're strictly GPA based. So there's no question as to what you would qualify for. You can take a look there and see where you fall, and that's about what you would qualify for. If you feel like at the end of the school year, you may have moved up to a higher scholarship level, we're happy to reevaluate that for you as well. Here's a look at some of our undergraduate programs here, so you can kind of get a look at what we have to offer. All of our programs kind of have an international spin on them just by virtue of the location. And our student population. You're going to have all these perspectives. You have those small class sizes, but you have that perspective of students from all over. So it's it's a really unique experience. So there are the business programs right there. And then we'll switch to my alma mater here, the communications department here. And you see American Studies, visual culture, film photography, international history, international relations. So a lot to choose from. And London is, of course, an excellent city to study any and all of these topics. So why London? I feel like that's a silly question. Why not London is what I like to say. It's the social, cultural, and political capital city of the world. And it's frequently voted the #1 international student city. I can totally vouch for that. With your student ID, you can get so many discounts to, of course, this is when things start to open up, fingers crossed, that you can kind of go more out and explore the city, because we definitely want you to do that. That's a part of the experience. Whether it's, personally, I was a big theater nerd, so whether it's going to performances, concerts, lectures, things like that, there's so much going on. They always say if you can't find it in London, right, you can't find it anywhere. And then we also have opportunities for study abroad. Sometimes I kind of find it funny that we're talking about study abroad because you're already studying abroad, but if you want to study abroad ×2, you are welcome to do that. We have partnerships all around the world, like similar to the internships. You can come back to the States, you can intern in the UK. It's a great way to boost your resume and add a little bit more experience and put what you learn in the classroom to a little bit of work. So places that you can go, here are some partnerships that we have, and yeah, basically cover all around the world. I know personally I had friends who, and even if you don't, I didn't study abroad myself, but you can also take advantage of visiting your friends who are studying abroad over spring break, winter break, things like that. I had friends in Spain and Italy, and so it was kind of really neat to get their perspective and learn about their semester when they returned back to campus. So yeah, so there's a number of opportunities there, and this is not the entire list. Feel free to reach out if there's another study abroad experience that you're interested in. So as well as that, we have clubs and societies. Here's a list of some of the organizations that we have. One thing that I really liked about Richmond was that we're very supportive of if you don't see something that you'd be interested in participating in, some kind of club, sport, things like that. It's very easy to start something. The Student Affairs Department is super supportive of, if you need a place to meet, or maybe you just need to get the word out to fellow students, or maybe a little bit of funding to really make the event happen. They are super open and supportive. One of my friends wanted to learn more about journalism. She started her own kind of YouTube university news channel, and before you knew it, we had professors supporting us, alum donating equipment. It was just really exciting to see everyone jump on board and support us. And then she could put on her resume that she was a founder of an organization, or founding member, president, things like that. So leadership opportunities too. University events. Here's a little list of some of the events that we have. As you see, you'll see some of the American kind of traditions, which, as an American university, we do have about 40% of the population is students coming from the States. So we still celebrate those holidays, and it's kind of cool to celebrate those familiar holidays, but in a new environment, and share it with students who may not be familiar with it too. Here are entry requirements, so you can take a look at that. GPA 2.5 and above, essay, reference, things like that. No SATs required. And how to apply: direct app or common app, personal statement reference, and of course your transcripts. So feel free to put in the chat any questions that you have for me. I'll be happy to supply any answers that I can, or grab our contact info there, send us an email. We'd be happy to schedule a call and discuss it further. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. We're on to our next presenter from Northumbria University, Newcastle.
Thank you. Just bear with me. Okay, that's not what I want. Just one moment. Hopefully, can you see the full screen? Is that right? Is that okay? Yeah, fantastic.
We can. Ian,
Brilliant.
It looks good.
That's very good to hear. Had some few technical issues in the past. So, thank you. My name is Ian Harris. I work for Northumbria University, based in the city of Newcastle upon Tyne. Thank you for joining me today. So, as I said, we're in Northeast England. You can just see on this map, we're very proud of our international airport. As you can see the big picture here, we are quite a small city. We are well connected across the UK, and it's very easy to get from our international airport, which is around a 10-hour flight from LA to London, and then into Newcastle, connected by a 1-hour flight from the London airport. Once you're at the airport, you can get our metro system, which takes 20 minutes to connect you right into the city centre. And then from there, it's another 20 minutes to our beautiful coastline, as we'll see in the wonderful pictures, which reflect the ever sunny climate here in Newcastle. So once you're in the city, this is what greets you. It's a very friendly city. It's a small city in terms of population and geography. A population of around 300,000 people in the city. 1 in 6 is actually a student. We have 2 large city universities right there in the city centre, and as a result of that, it's a very friendly and very accessible student city to live in and study in. And the familiarity with the size of the city means it becomes a very safe city to live, and we've been awarded many awards for that in terms of its safety and a great place to live. The university itself is right in the heart of the city centre. So from that previous picture, it's a 20-minute walk up through the city centre to our campus. We're a top 400 global university, a top 30 UK university, and we have a lot of internationally recognised accreditations, which are a real result of our practice-led teaching. We have great opportunities within our 3-year major structure for industrial placements, and sandwich years for study abroad as well, if you prefer that. And all of this leads to our graduate employability. We're a top 15 UK university for graduate employability. In terms of our academic offer, so as I said, we have predominantly 3-year majors with 4-year options for either integrated masters or placement internships, with majors across business and law, health and life science, environment and engineering, and arts, design and social sciences. Everyone will be given a personal tutor to provide pastoral and academic support. We have an excellent ratio with 16:1 student to staff. We have two unique opportunities. We have an eye-to-eye soccer partnership for any students, male, female, who are interested in competing in high-level soccer. And we also have a unique year in business or multidisciplinary innovation at our partner institution in Amsterdam. In terms of living costs, it's very affordable outside of London, approximately $1,415 for average living cost per month. Our accommodation offer, similar to what you'd hear in Australia, is single occupancy only. All university managed accommodation is within 5 to 25-minute walk of the city centre and the campus. We don't have any meal plans per se, but we do have a catered accommodation offer if students are not confident in cooking for themselves. In terms of beyond study, so we have 31,000 students on our campus in total across undergraduate and graduate school. 200 of those are from North America and predominantly learning in sports management, design, architecture, and nursing. We have over 100 clubs and societies, and if you are elite athletes or wanting to compete and represent the university, we're not at NCAA level, but we do have a very competitive sports offer, and we're top 15 in terms of competitive sports in the UK. We don't have the sororities or fraternities as you would have in the US, but it is a very sociable place to be, with award-winning student support and well-being. So in terms of the facts and figures, our tuition fees come in around £16,000 a year, which is around $22,000. We are FAFSA accredited, and we do have a range of scholarships that are automatically awarded to all enrolled international students, the Global Scholarship, and we also have the Raise Me Micro Scholarship as well. So the average total cost for a 3-year major at our institution is just under $100,000. Typically, we're looking at a 3.0 GPA on a 4.0 scale. And we do accept standardized tests, but those students who don't have access to those or are unable to fulfill those requirements, we are looking at a test optional for those subjects that can achieve that, and it's a 3.2 GPA. And I'll leave with my contact details here. If you want to scan that QR code, you can, and that will take you to an opportunity to book a one-to-one session to find out more about our institutional offer. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We're on to our last presenter from Glasgow School of Art. Please begin.
Hello. I'll just share my screen now. So my name is Vanessa Johnson, and I work at the Glasgow School of Art. So the art school is around about 170 years old. We're quite a small institution. It's actually quite large in terms of art school, but it's a small specialist institution, so we're not a large comprehensive institution. And the emphasis at the art school is very much on practice-led learning. So we are based in the city of Glasgow. Glasgow is on the west coast of Scotland. It's the largest of the cities in Scotland. A little bit bigger than Edinburgh. Not sure if anyone's still hearing me. Yeah.
Yep, we can hear you.
Sorry, just the subtitles stopped and I got worried. So Glasgow was voted again this year as the most friendly city in the world by rough guides, by people coming to the city. And you'll very much find that if you're walking in the street and you look a little bit lost, that somebody will come up to you and ask you if you need help and if you want to get directions to anything. So Glaswegians are very well known for being outgoing, being warm and friendly to anybody that comes. You might be able to tell from my accent that I'm not originally from the city of Glasgow. I actually moved to work here about 14 years ago, and I've stayed here ever since. And as you can also see from the picture, the city has a 19th century heritage in terms of buildings, industry base, etc. It grew quite substantially in terms of factories and production in the 19th century. And then it went through quite a significant transformation in the 1980s, where a lot of those industries changed. And that opened up quite a lot of empty space in the city. which then got used by artists moving into those spaces. So that's what is kind of known as the Glasgow miracle. It wasn't a miracle at all because it's actually taken a lot of hard work, but it's transformed the city into an amazing cultural space. So it's one of the 3 main centres in Europe of contemporary art practice, alongside London and Berlin. Last year in the 2020 world rankings for the QS, we ranked at number 8 in the world. The 2021 ones haven't come out yet. And we have 5 main schools where our programs of study are located. The top 3 are the oldest ones. The School of Design is the largest. And the 2 ones at the bottom are the newest 2. So School of Innovation and the School of Simulation and Visualization. So looking at how you're using digital technology, particularly in the creative field. And you've got a list of our programs of study here. Because we are based in Scotland and the Scottish education system and the English, Welsh and Northern Irish education system are not exactly the same, most of our degree programs are 4 years in duration. We don't require students to have a foundation course before they start a degree in art and design, so they come directly from school into a 4-year undergraduate program. We ask students to choose their specialist subject on entry, which is quite different than a lot of places. So if you're not ready to do that when you leave school because you don't kind of know the difference between textile design, you've never done it, so how would you know if you wanted to study it? You can come onto an international foundation program instead, and that's an alternative first-year program to coming into the 4-year program. So you do a 1 year of foundation program and you would then come into second year of the main program of study. And we take quite a lot of students from England, particularly into second year directly because they have done a foundation program before. 2 things at the bottom of this list that you might want to think about. We do some portfolio preparation programs for students trying to prepare a portfolio for entry to art school, and we're doing those online this year. And we also have options for study abroad. So if you're not sure that you want to spend the whole 4 years abroad, we also allow you to come for a year or a semester as part of a degree in the US. So learning at art school is a little bit different than learning at university level. It's very much a hands-on approach, very much the emphasis on learning through making. And in ordinary times, most students would spend most of their time in their studio space. We give students guaranteed studio space on campus so they can come in and do their work in those spaces. This year, that's had to be limited somewhat because of COVID, and when people have been allowed out of their house. This year, we've been open for students to come in for 1 day a week, and also to come into the library and book spaces in workshops. We are quite an international art school. We have around about 30% of our students are from outside of the UK. And we also offer all students on programs of more than 1 year duration the opportunity to go abroad. And around about 20% of our students do take advantage of that. So that's quite a high percentage in the UK of students that study abroad. And that's usually done for a semester during the 3rd year of a 4-year undergraduate degree. So as I said, we have a number of workshops. You can see that the students in this picture are using the correct PPE for the workshop that they're working in. We also have halls of residence, which again are single study bedrooms like other people. If you would like to see some work from students, you can do that by going onto that website there. And just to get on to there's a standard application process in the UK called UCAS. We're part of that. You can apply to up to 5 different programs on that one application form. And you've got the entry requirements there as well. Our tuition fees are around about £19,000 a year. And we do have a range of scholarships as well for you to apply to. So that's it. Thank you for listening. And I think we're available for questions now as well, that you can send out through the chat, or that you can post.
Thank you. We've concluded all of our presenters. In the time we have remaining, we're going to go to a quick question and answer session. I'm going to share a few questions, and all of our presenters will offer their perspectives on the questions. We'll go in the order in which we presented. The first question for the group is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? We'll start with John Cabot University.
I would say do your research on the surrounding areas. You know, we're all international universities, so we're all very particular and different. So I think the surrounding area, like for John Cabot, Rome is a very, you know, Rome is this very Italian city. So it's very ingrained in the Italian culture, John Cabot's experience. So I think you should, you know, make sure you're going to enjoy the surrounding area as much as the university itself.
Thank you. Macquarie University.
It's awesome that you guys are here. You obviously have an interest of studying overseas. I would say look far and wide. There's so many incredible opportunities to study around the world. I've been lucky enough to study in 5 countries and try and encourage students to beat me and make it 5 or 6. So don't limit yourself. Look everywhere and check out every opportunity because it's truly amazing.
Thank you. Richmond, the American International University in London.
First of all, I'd say you're in the right group. I think you're off to a great start. I think, you know, think about what you want, what's most important to you. If you're looking for a large, massive, you know, like I'm from Florida, so massive state school, then, you know, Richmond isn't that, and you don't want to end up there and be kind of surprised. So just figure out what's most important in you, for you, and find a school that fits that as best as it can.
Thank you. Northumbria University.
So I'd say 2 very quick things. One of them is don't feel under any pressure to go to college or university straight out of high school. I took 2 years out before I went to university, and it was the best thing I could have done. Secondly, we obviously have quite a unique offering, but there's also a lot of very good, rich information that you can dig into, and what might look the same at a surface level in terms of the title of a major may be very different in terms of the classes that you can access. So have a look on the website and have a look at a real breakdown of what is included in the structure of the major to really help inform that decision.
Thank you. Last but not least, Glasgow School of Art.
Yes, I think most of what the advice has already been covered. Think about the types of study that you really want to do, and start to have a look at combining that with the place that you'd like to study, and whether you're going to feel more comfortable in a big or a small institution. And that starts to orientate you to kind of narrow down your options and your choices at that stage.
Thank you. We'll start at the top again for our next question. What is your favorite event or tradition on campus? John Carroll, please start. I'm sorry, John Cabot, please start.
It's all good. So I think, you know, like I said, I graduated from John Cabot. So I think in the last year, in your senior year, it's not the graduation ceremony. It's just like basically like a senior gala. It's only for the seniors, and we rent out this giant mansion on like the top of Rome, and you can see the entire city. So every senior class gets to do that. So I think that's a pretty special experience, getting to dress up super fancy and go to, you know, a villa in Rome to, you know, look over the city. That's a pretty good event or tradition. Yeah.
At Macquarie, we celebrate Conception Day, which is when the university was signed into being, and it's a 3-day music festival and cultural festival that happens on campus, which is super fun.
For us at Richmond, it's international night, I would have to say. The closest thing I can compare it to is like a talent show, but I don't think that's fair, because it's, well, that might just be the theater nerd in me, and that's why I like it. Basically your classmates, professors, anyone involved with the school kind of can show off different, you know, parts of their culture, whether it's like through music, through some kind of performance, and maybe even classmates that aren't in the field of performing can use that as an opportunity. So it's a really fun night for the whole university.
At Northumbria, our city is very sports passionate for sports, I should say. And as I mentioned, there's 2 large universities right in the city campus, right in the city centre, and we have an annual sports competition across around 30 different sports called the Stan Calvert Cup, and things get very heated, but it's all in good faith and very friendly, I can assure you. And it culminates in a rugby match at our Premier League rugby ground between both Northumbria University and Newcastle University. And we are the reigning Stan Calvert champions.
Okay, and I think for me, my favorite event on our campus would be the fashion show, which usually takes place in February each year, where students put on their collections from textiles and fashion design. But I think the students' probably favorite event on campus is probably Halloween.
Thank you. We still have a few minutes, so we'll go to our last question. Give an interesting fun fact about your school, starting at the top, John Cabot University.
Well, I guess, John Cabot was an explorer. So John Cabot University was named after him, and I believe he was an English explorer. And that kind of represents the kind of student that we're looking for. So I think that is something to note about our school.
I already said our fun fact was that we created Wi-Fi, which you can't really beat that, but I will say the university has just invested over $1 billion into our main central area of the university, and all the new buildings were opened last week, and each and every one was 5-star energy rating and renewable, which we're super proud of as well.
So I don't know if this is fun, but I find it interesting. Our main building on our Richmond Hill campus, which is right behind me, it used to be a seminary. So it's kind of just got this really long history and kind of old school vibe, kind of gives you some of those Hogwarts feels you may be looking for if you're going to the UK. I know that's what we felt like. And I had the privilege of living at like the top of the little castle. So got to live some princess dreams.
I'm going to go really off piece and say something very bizarre, but we have a campus cat. No one knows who owns a cat, but the cat seems to be very well looked after by all the students and is fed and looks very healthy. But yeah, always on campus, no one knows who owns the cat.
I was going to say that we used to have a mouse that died in between two of the window panes in one of the old buildings in the school, and nobody could get it out, and it kind of fossilized. Once that building was taken down, actually that mouse has kind of been given a decent burial, but that probably would have been a victim of the Northumbria campus cat.
Well, thank you so much. That concludes our fair for tonight. I want to thank all of our presenters for sharing the valuable information. I would note that we've got a quick survey available for anyone that's interested in taking it. 4 questions. Do take that if you have the time. Also note we have some additional sessions available if you're interested. So take a look at the website. Lastly, a reminder, the recording will be available at strivescan.com/WACAC. Hope everybody has a great night, and we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.